trend 3 is this thought that luxury e-tail and technology and the use of technology to help with both storytelling for the brand, but also then monetizing the brand is certainly not slowing down. If anything, it's massively accelerating as you would expect with COVID and so on. And this is, I guess, a category that historically has been relatively slow to jump online and to embrace digital and so on, because there's this comfort blanket almost of, the physical and the white glove service and the concierge and all of that sort of stuff. And, famously, I think Prada only had their first website up in 2007, I think it was. So, perhaps turning to you, Louis, we've seen that luxury sales online have jumped really significantly. There's a Bain report saying that they've jumped from, I think it's 12% to 23% in 2019, and it's continued to accelerate. What are you seeing from your perspective at Breitling? What's the transition from on to online and so
on? So my perspective is even worse, because I would say within luxury watchmakers were even more conservative, even more late, and even less inclined towards e-commerce. So there was definitely a huge catch up to do, because those increase that you're talking about, they are simply customer driven, right? It's part of the interaction. They have a digital relationship with the brand. They somewhat land on the website, and they expect to be able to transact. Not necessarily they will transact, but that's part of their expectations, right? Mm-hmm. And so for sure, the brands, and I'm going to talk about luxury watch brands, realized that, had to change their perspective, had to change their approach, and also I think stop with the mindset that it's offline versus online, because what everyone understands now is that it's combined together that you get really powerful, especially when you're in a direct to customer approach, which was not the case of luxury watchmakers for a while, right? Where they would just sell their products to resellers, to retailers that would have the relationship with the customers. And over time, the direct relationship between the brands and the customers strengthened for those watch industries, and they realized that they had to do their own boutiques and open their own, let's say, online boutique, right? Mm-hmm. So clearly, I would say this started before COVID, and COVID was for sure a huge acceleration. So if we want to talk about percentage, right? As I said, the percentage are worse than the one you were describing, 20%, because the reality is that before COVID it was between 0 to 5% for the best in class in the watch industry, right? Mm-hmm. And since we're reaching out close to 10%. That's where we are at Breitling, for instance. And the target is to get towards 15, 20 in the next 3-5 years, right? So there is a huge acceleration, also because it's answering a shift in the consumption pattern, right? And I think every belief that was pushing against e-commerce has always been crushed. The fact that you need to touch the product, the fact that there is an artificial price that in your mind you will never pay online, you will never pay more for online. All those things, completely disappeared. And I think now what's interesting is more to say, okay, e-commerce is not a fad, it's definitely here to stay. It's essential in the relationship to the customer. It's really like, how do I articulate this essential channel as e-commerce with my boutiques, so that basically the experience of the customer is really flawless and he can jump from one to the other. And this takes a lot of operational challenges for sure. That's, I think, is going to be what brands like Breitling are solving now.